In this very short video, I'm going to be talking about the X-ray detector systems that we commonly use in diffractometers. And I'm going to focus in particular on those systems which we actually have here in materials in the University of Sheffield. There are very many different types of system, and I am going to talk about the four we actually have, and that is scintillation counters, such as found on our E5000 instruments, the position-sensitive detectors and imaging plates that we have on our Stowe diffractometers, and the silicon strip detector that we have on our new Brooker D2 phaser. Scintillation counters are a type of point detector. In this case, X-ray photons coming in from the sample are absorbed by a crystal, typically thallium-doped sodium iodide, and this generates photons of blue light. The blue light is converted into electrons in a photomultiplier tube and amplified, and the resultant voltage pulses are detected and counted, and a signal sent to a computer for recording. They're very, very inefficient. I've read somewhere something like only 1 in 10,000 X-ray events actually get detected in this sort of system. So really inefficient, but they're very stable, very reliable. They last for decades, and they work. So these are commonly used still now in many labs. Our D5000s all have photomultipliers and point detectors like this. So they are still very much in use, but they are last year's technology, if you like. Line and area detectors, position-sensitive detectors like we have both in the copper and molybdenum systems with our Stowe's. These are effectively line detectors, where the intensity of the diffractive beam can be measured at many points along the wire more or less simultaneously. So in this case, the X-rays from the sample come in through a window into the detector that's filled with gas, a noble gas and some sort of quenching gas, like methane. The X-rays ionize noble gas ions. In the copper system, we have the detector is filled with argon, and the molybdenum system is filled with krypton. So these get ionized, and the freed electron is accelerated onto a linear path along to impact onto an anode wire, producing a current. Now you can imagine the wire is connected to the counting electronics in two directions, i.e. from both ends of the wire. So depending on whereabouts that electron has interacted with the wire will determine the time it takes for the electrical signal to reach the counting electronics in either direction. So if the X-ray event is towards one end of the wire, it will reach one side of the counting electronics a lot sooner than the other end. And so from measuring that time difference of the arriving pulses, the electronics can work out the position of the original X-ray interaction in the detector, i.e. where the peak is. Imaging plate detectors, as we've got on our studies as well, we have two image plates. In these, we have a big white strip of material, phosphor material, europium-doped barium fluorobromide probably. When this gets exposed to X-rays, the europium 2+ is oxidized to europium 3+. The freed electron gets trapped in vacancies. It may stay there for up to 20 minutes, certainly up for a short period of time, and then can be released from that state by exposing the detector to a laser or to white light. So what we do with the image plates is we shine a laser onto the europium. That causes the re-emission of blue photons as the europium 3+ is reduced back to europium 2+, and the photons are then registered by a photomultiplier and detected and recorded on the computer. Again, a modern development has been the emergence of the so-called energy dispersive one-dimensional detectors, for example, the Pixel from Analytical or the Brooker Linkside. These are silicon strip detectors. They're far more efficient than previous generations, much more than anything we've talked about so far. And then these are counting probably in excess of 98% of all the photons that strike the detector, and effectively they're maintenance-free as well. These consist of an array of reverse biased diodes made from silicon. The absorption of an X-ray photon results in the formation of electron hole pairs in the diode. And then you go around, sweep an electrical field across the detector strips, which generates an electric signal dependent on dependent on the location of these electron hole pairs, and so you can measure off where your X-ray interactions with the detector occur. And as I say, these are far more energy efficient, so they detect far more X-rays, and they also tend to be tunable as well. So you can change the discriminator energies. So you can use the detector to tune out fluorescence from iron-rich samples with copper radiation, for example. So hopefully that's given you a brief overview of the detector systems we have in the department. As I say, we do have many other types of detector systems that are possible, but as we don't have those,